The double smokes is not anything too surprising on Lotus. I think a lot of teams back at Lock-In were definitely fans of rocking with that. I do appreciate Supermassive's commitment to the Ghost. Everyone rocking one of those. With some early A main aggression here, it's just a little surprising to see Flux not really fight over that whatsoever. They're just ceding the space and going to rely on the Killjoy utility for information once Supermassive actually get onto the site.
Approach tree here as well, expecting someone to come peeking forward, but simply not the case. Marching their way forward, no one really looking to contest. It feels that Flux are expecting a B or a C hit here, but little do they realize that I think practically every member of Supermassive, outside of one, is over here towards A.
They've got 3 players on B that can rotate really quickly. Now, Baby Door just got broken down. And if Supermassive decide to split into B, they are going to walk into a meat grinder. They have no idea what's waiting for them.
This feels like the wrong call here as well, especially when A sits so bare and open. But of course, they don't know that at this point. They're staring down the barrel of a wall. In goes the march on forward, and this is where it might start getting really fiery. And
still a lot of options because they haven't committed whatsoever. Supermassive just waited out that harbor wall, 35 seconds on the clock, but still the 4 players from Flux are always going to be here to fight them on the site.
I mean, they're straight in here, and this is what I thought the play might have been about 20 seconds ago, but enough pressure shown in towards B to slightly scare the members of Flux, and finally they realize that A was indeed the push, and now we back away, spikes down.
Now this defensive Viper Wall is super good on the retake, right? It blocks off all of A main, all of tree. They can try to get on the spike really early.
I mean, at this point as well, they're halfway through already. This is where the push has to come in for Supermassive Blaze. Guys, hello? How'd they let them get away? How on earth does that come about?
Yeah, I just love when a round ends with defuse with 10 players alive. What is that? That's crazy. I mean, wild stuff.
You speak about the realms of Siege where, you know, sometimes we come down to a 5v5, diffusers going down, we're like, whoa, what's going on? But to see a spike go down in a 5v5 and then also get diffused in a 5v5 and no one goes down, that's a new one.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of protection offered there from Harbor's blocky ball guy. I always forget what that's called, but, you know. It blocks off the damage. And also I think Supermassive just not the Cove. Exactly. Yes, see, you know your stuff. I think Supermassive maybe didn't respect the fact of that Viper Wall, right? Electing to play all players off-site was a little bit peculiar. And just didn't really have, without rifles, the ability to spam through that and get the damage down.
Well, here we go. B seems to be the hit this time, or at least linking across in towards C. Yep, that's absolutely the play. Using it as the short change to be able to push out down in towards A, or in towards C itself, sorry. One only holding on site here, and Flux, it feels a little bit behind the read. It feels in both of these rounds so far, have really let Supermassive push where they want to push, get the map control they need without too much response. You can still see 3 players holding on B, expecting a sudden turn and hit back towards B. It's a smart read, and so far the 2 that are on C have got a good hold.
Yeah, Flux playing to rotate very quickly off of B and not wanting to overextend, I think, with the rifle advantage here. It is also curious to see how Supermassive just want to time out as best they can every rotation of smokes and whatnot. And now with the Viper Wall, they're going to contact their way in.
Just waiting for Jalais swing here as well. Surely the call comes through. Finds one for himself. Sprays in the box for the second. Easy 2K is sociable. Cleans up a 3K. It looked like Supermassive might have something going on, but Flux, they were ready. There was a line there I was ready to drop, which was they give no flux. But I was kind of half thinking, is it good to use? I think it was.
I mean, I think you hold on to that one for a little bit later.
Yeah, there's definitely more moments.
Like, you could save that, you know, so when they take the win and then that becomes the moment.
Yeah,
that'll go in all the highlight reels.
That is a good point. It is the game-winning call that you do want to catch in all the replays.
What people really don't realize is there's a special skill in casting where it's like not actually casting for the round of the game, but casting to make it to like the rollout at the end or the highlight, the hype video for the next week. And it's with lines like that it'll work.
It's when they come into like a big tournament, they're qualified for a big tournament, the whole hype trail leading in towards it. That's what you want.
Like here, I'll try one out. And Sturbin just sturbed all over him.
Find them again.
You can do it with any player's name as well as the best thing. He just jalassed it everywhere.
I like it. I like it. We need to save some of these. See, we're using all the best content too early now. We're jumping the gun.
Oh, it can be reused. Recycled content. Famous rule got taught. Only 97% of people will see it the first time round, so there's a good audience still waiting to see it a second time.
All right. I like that. No one
3% deserve it.
Yeah, okay. Chat, you don't call us out, okay?
I will
just pretend like everything you hear is completely original, like this game hasn't been played before.
No. I mean, this play, this position, completely original. This Viper sequence into the fade, it's all completely original.
The fast rotates are always here for Flux, so it's wild.
Here we go as well. Yetajay's holding down the site. Down comes the Cove as well. That bulletproof barrier being broken pretty quick. But now they've got the smoke in the way as well. It's looking good this time round for Supermassive, who have found themselves in on 3. Only Woot left standing. We know that he's this 17-year-old gunner, but can he do it against 4? Something tells me no.
Gonna be tough there with the Spectre. 3 players trying to chase him down and guard against that angle. I wonder where's the rifle on site. It's a little bit challenging for him to reach towards. So his best bet is probably to work over towards tree first, but Izzy's there holding the angle. Not going to let that happen. Yeah,
good lang angle as well. Good read to the Spectre being on side there and just acknowledging, hey, playing close here, maybe not quite the best idea. I forget which game it was, but there was a game I watched a couple of weeks ago, actually, and maybe it was from Lock-In, where teams were getting real cheesy with stingers on close range. They'd like rush in like round 2, stingers in hand, down goes the spike, turn it around, and suddenly be like, hey, you guys want to push? You're literally 5 meters away. It's a free spray down. Spectre, a similar story. You got to be careful and respect those.
Yeah, if you like the stinger, you need to have a conversation with Lothar. He's on the desk later today. He's a big stinger
boy?
enjoyer. Yeah, he's always been a stinger boy.
A stinger enjoyer.
Yes, and I mean, honestly, I like it. I like it as a round 2 force option for a lot of teams. Now, I was tracking and I was wondering how many teams are going to be rocking the light armor meta.
I think most were last week.
No, and I think it's absolutely the right call. But in this game, only 3 players actually on light, and I think it's because their money. You can see Jalur, Social B, Sturban on the opposite side. They only didn't go for heavy armor because they didn't actually have the money to do it. So these teams still in the ways of the past, I think, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those things I think we'll see slowly envelop the world unless at some point, right, step in and just say, right, I think it's nerf time. Let's forget about that. Let's see what more we can do to prohibit the amount of light armors that come through, as it will be the go-to for the longest time, I imagine.
Slow play from Supermassive here, really taking their time. And again, this is such a unique way of playing defense here on Fireflux, where they just don't put anyone on A. So many times you'll see very aggressive forward fighting over towards A main, but they just are very comfortable with the alarm bot and the on the turret, deep on A, guarding away. And Supermassive haven't really looked for a fast hit or anything like this. They've just opened actually every door now, so Fireflux here, a lot going on. This will end up being a B split for them. Coming in through Baby Door, Cider finds the first, also the second with Izzy from behind, and Izzy wants a little bit more. Pushing towards spawn now. Jailurst, oh, he's gonna show his gun into the smoke. Wasn't expecting the CT push, and the site belongs to Supermassive.
Oh, we've seen this one before. A player from Fireflux standing alone against 3 or 4 players on the other side. Oh yeah, just in the very last round. As you say, I think this one feels like it's already done and dusted, unless Supermassive get a little bit cheeky here and isolate out a few 1v1s, which, by the looks of it, they are far too respectful to give that one way over to Sociable. So, 2-2, things pulled up pretty quick.
Izzy is a little bit on the hunt now, trying to find this operator.
Do they get it?
I think they might. Social B, is he going to guess right? Because he's like checking every angle for half a second. If he goes back to clear CT, he is not going to expect Izzy so close, but he still shuts him down.
Classic timing, that. I'm going to have to now start declaring Valorant timing. Finds himself 2, looks for a third, but does finally get shut down. They take the op for themselves. You'll sacrifice 2 players in that scenario.
100%. Fireflux will not be in a position to be able to buy an operator heading into this 5th round. And looks like across the board, Supermassive going to be very happy. So again, this play, with all the sort of disinformation, I think, early on, from Supermassive, converting into this B split looked really nice from them. Again, because there isn't this forward fighting on any part of the map, I think this is something that Fireflux can try to attempt a lot more often, right? Where they can take control of Mound, take control of A main, pinch into B. Yes, there are a lot of players stacking on the B side, but when you have to worry about so many different angles being pinched down upon, Supermassive are going to be able to shoot people in the side of the heads like we saw Izzy get a couple of kills with the last round.
In fact, they forced him into this full save as well. The op maybe would have inspired a rifle or 2 to come out here, but instead, no, forcing them fully onto the back foot. And then attacking side of Supermassive now in a very commanding position, maybe here, and maybe even the next round as well, going into it. But let's see how the push-in comes towards C. Again, a big group up towards B from Fireflux, keeping themselves pretty flexible, playing around the middle of the park, ready to move over towards A or C, depending on where this aggression comes from. And you can see it paying off here, because we're not seeing another full send in towards C, as we saw back in round 2. Instead, it's that rotate off towards A, and already you can see Fireflux getting ready for this push.
It's kind of comical watching how deliberate Supermassive are clearing everything out. It's the right way to play, but the fact is Fireflux are all sitting in their spawn. None of this ends up mattering. 5 versus 5 on site. Very rare you see this right off the rip.
Timing on that one straight away. The Jets in pretty deep here as well, being followed up behind from Tree. They were playing this perfectly down to the T, coming in for the trades, but it simply hasn't gone the way they might want to. Down to a 2 versus 2. Definitely not the commanding entry that Supermassive were looking for, and this round could go either way.
So close here. Social B comes around. No, he can't find a single knife there. Elite comes around the corner. And I mean, that should have been a simple round. Ended up being Fireflux giving them one good fight, but can't get it done to the end on Social B.
Sociable, he saw that TikTok clip in the making.
Why am I calling him Social B? What am I doing?
I mean, Social B's actually, when I first saw his name written down, I didn't say that to try and call you out either, but genuinely saw it first, and I was like, oh, Social B.
I went through all the names before this. Was like Sociable, 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 and then
Social B.
I see the two big E's at the end, and I'm like, it has to be Social B. Oh man, I'm getting dizzy with the names.
Don't worry about it. Stings like a bee sometimes. Clearly not in that round, though. I mean, the two first kills were fantastic, but it was these next two. The two of them just lined up so well in such a tight space there, but just could not land onto either. Unfortunate. But it does give Supermassive that buy they were looking for, and now we have got a full buy coming up from Fireflux. They've got to see success in this round, or this could start getting real messy.
Yeah, Operator once again unsociable. And actually seeing some amount of fight towards a 4 players over in this area. They also committed the early harbor wall. Now they're actually running on forward, but they don't have control over that area, and Supermassive are just tearing them apart.
Ruined them to begin with as well, and this is even before we've even seen a hit towards the site. They wanted to go aggressive in trying to contest in towards the A main area, but so far have been completely shut out. I mentioned that we really had to see Fireflux come out strong in this round, otherwise the economy was in tatters. So far, all they've done is lose 3 members and only taken down Izzy on the other side. Dream start for Supermassive.
Yeah, this is tough. Sociable has to be able to find at least one to kick things off. That's just not going to be the case. The round completely expired. And also that op not in a position to be recovered whatsoever. I think this is sort of a weird round from Fireflux because they had the operator posted up down A, but then they also tried to like late run forward with Voot playing off of his own flashes without control. So there's just too many angles you can actually get shot from. I like an aggressive A main fight right off the start of the round, but after you've ceded control like that, I think that's asking a little bit too much.
I think we know exactly how this round's going to time out here as well. Again, probably the 3rd or 4th round that we've seen a member of Fireflux being stuck in this 1v3, 1v4 situation. Really starting to get the vibe already that this is going to turn into the half of Supermassive. Although, again, one classic thing I always used to say back in Siege is there are 2 halves to a game of Valorant in this case. Things can change an awful lot once you see that half switch. Equally, things can snowball very quickly towards
That's also
32, 33. So it really can go that way, but it's more saying wait until you've seen a few rounds of that second half before.
Has the Guardian this round, but that's just going to be a bit of a hero buy on him.
I mean, he wasn't the hero earlier on with the ult. What can he do?
That was an aggressive voice. Who was that?
Yeah.
I'm not accustomed to the Turkish voices.
I was about to say, you don't understand the Turkish version. It's the same, just a lot angrier.
But like, I also didn't recognize like the effect on the voice either, because a lot of times like Viper will have that sort of like smoky effect or like talking through a
gas mask kind of vibe.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. That sounded like it could have maybe been her.
I mean, there are 2 of them in the game, so take your pick.
That's true.
You've got a 20% chance of being correct.
That's good odds.
We'll take those. I mean, you clearly are not a betting man.
Look, it's better odds than, say, Harbor. That's only 10%.
That's true, that's true. I wouldn't bet on that. That's a good point.
It's actually the highest odds you could have
in relativity to others, it is a good bet.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I think Fireflux just like each other. Like, they're just holding hands the entire half, even when they have rifles.
Especially around like, B. They're like singing Kumbaya around it like it's some kind of ritual site, right? I mean, there's 5 of them on B, and they're planting on B. This is a bit of a slaughter. 3 kills going across the Supermassive, but somehow I really thought for a second we were starting to see a swing back for Fireflux, but this is the problem. Holding hands, like you say, all stacking 5 through a single bottleneck doorway. It's an easy mow down for Supermassive.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. So many times Fireflux have been there on the site hits, and Supermassive are just tearing them down as they work on in. Izzy's been good for 1 or 2 the majority of rounds, I think. That's been really impactful coming into the sites.
I do want to touch on Woot as well. I know he's a player that we were really bigging up coming into this. Currently sat at 2 and 6. Really, Social B, he's our man. Stinging pretty bright here. 9 and 6 so far in the game. Top fragging alongside Izzy on the other. It's those 2 Jets really coming to the fore so far.
I think we can call him Social B when he's playing on B site. I think that's totally allowed. I'm going to run with that. Like
okay,
last round, that was acceptable.
Do we call him Social C when he's on C site?
No, we just go back to sociable. It's normal. Actually, you know what? It makes sense. Fireflux are just sociable. That's why they're hanging out together.
I see. We're really starting to form a team identity here.
Yeah, it makes sense.
A Viperal coming out here on A site, and the diffuser goes down. Spike, that's going to catch me so many times today. The spike goes down, sorry, and here we go. To see if there's going to be another crazy 5v5 diffuse coming in here, but it's not anticipated.
Intentionally getting detained to try and bait the players in.
I like it. I don't hate it, but it obviously means that he can't help out for a short time here as well. Here we come,
Not
and again we're getting the diffuser.
Not again.
It's in a 3v3 this time, but it's still twice in a game. There are a good chunk of the players left. And somehow they get away. That's 2 rounds of the ones they've won in this half have come from that style of play. Absolutely ludicrous.
I actually just can't. I actually can't with that round. Not again. I mean, I thought, like, I think Sturban going for the intentional lockdown hitting him there is interesting, but obviously wasn't able to get involved with any mollies or anything like this. Not necessarily his fault, because the rest of Supermassive are just playing so far off-site. If they plant A again, we need to see them take more forward positions, I think, or this is just going to keep happening.
It's like they get the spike down and then just think, okay, we can chill. There's no way they've run in the start. Is that the sound? Oh, no, that can't be that sound coming off so soon. No way.
And to be fair, that time, like, the lockdown was forcing them off of site, but that was just
But it came in so long
obnoxious.
after the lockdown as well as the thing, and I was like, guys, like, there's so much time here to still make a play, but it's almost like they've forgotten where they got the defuse down and weren't spike down and went into a spot to come away with the defuse.
Yeah, I think big part there not having Sturban's mollies. If it had been anyone else to sort of tank the lockdown, I mean, maybe Elite could have gotten in. I didn't see exactly what was going on with him. They'll use their own Killjoy ult to get this plant, but then let's check out how they actually play the post, because again, like, they're all playing behind this Viper wall, and that is very problematic. When there's a Viper wall, there's a Harbor Cove as well.
But you can't ignore how far back all of Fireflux were. They were obviously held at bay by the Killjoy ult lockdown. Now they're in a spot where they've got control of site again. This is where that challenge comes in.
Ooh, fighting through the wall here. Instantly traded out. Sociable has to find something popping out of the smoke, but Elite takes down 3. Yeah, stay away from the A site. That was rough.
Drag him in towards the Viper pit here as well and try and make something work out. They're sitting first, but they completely whiff every single shot. Then they get the pre-fire down on towards that spike, and finally, we will see the post plant go the way of Supermassive.
Yeah, Fireflux trying to walk through their own utility right there, and man, unable to find anything. A rare case where on those retakes, they can't just go for the full defuse. They tried to mix things up, go for the damage, but I actually think that would have been a good time. They were, of course, I think, trying to push through that because the Killjoy mollies were popped on the spike. So like, okay, let's play aggressive, see if we can find a couple of kills, but maybe a world in which they could have timed that out. I didn't know quite how much gas they had left on Jalurst, but that could have been an option. I think he'd used that wall pretty early on into the retake, so maybe it wasn't something that was actually tenable for them and they needed to fight forward there.
Speaking about being tenable, it's sociable in this round, straight out there with the Jet ult on once again. We didn't do well in the early round with this ultimate, but it's always been the end product that has lacked. Speaking of end product, Jealous gets into a wonderful spot and gets the double spray down to combat the other way as well. So things are suddenly looking okay, but sociable, no! Not like this. Taken now with the ult, still had to as well, it seemed. We're down to a 1 versus 3, a 1 versus nothing. Supermassive really cleaning up a couple of these rounds here, Ender.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all these poor buys from Fireflux that Supermassive are tearing them down with. That time, I actually liked seeing some kind of attempt to fight over Mount. I think this is something that is missing right now in the defensive half from Fireflux, is the lack of forward engagements. And once again, actually, maybe we do see them try to take some control over towards A main. We've got 3 players stacked up for Fireflux they can work with. Voots, they're going to be using the Hawk, I believe, to get the initial control.
Just the economy of Supermassive that scares me here. They've got a 2-3 rounds work that they can make this work. It looks problematic. Here we go, spray down as well, straight through the wall. So much utility being stacked up, but it's not stopping the frags from going side to side here as well. Looks like for now, at least, Supermassive are going to find themselves slightly forced back. In fact, yep, the full rotate off towards C, and this is where the push comes through.
Still options to play with as the door opens and they convert back over into the B site. Now Voot's going to be able to tuck away over towards Baby Door. There's going to be 2 players ready to reinforce, and with the stall coming in from Killjoy, Izzy has to find something to open things up. And he does. He finds that first, trades out onto JJ. Izzy popping on down here. Will there be a challenge through this smoke? The flash sends Izzy in a spiral running over towards top site. Absolute madness. As the spike still has yet to be planted, the smoke comes down, Elite finds one, becomes a 1 versus 2. Voot now trying to spot out where's the spike gone. It's abandoned the site entirely, and if he wants to get over to the C side, he has to open door and reveal his position.
All right, this time around it feels like even in this 1 versus 2, it is doable. It is that player we've been speaking about for so long, but they even bring out the Killjoy. They know what he's capable of, showing a little spot of respect here as well, but he's got, what, all of 5 seconds to find his 2 kills. Comes swinging in for the 1, but can't find his man. Elite gets the shutdown. 8-3 to Supermassive, and they are running away with this half.
It looks like Elite's crouch key got a little bit stuck there as well. A little bit awkward. But at the end of the day, nice stuff for Supermassive, continuing to cruise on through this attacking side. There's been nothing Flux have managed to do. Even the forward fighting there, all it was good for was a 1-for-1, and then Supermassive were playing the entire map. It's really nice to see this slower approach to their attacking side where they can scout out any early utility, any forward positions the defense tries to post up on. That was one of the first rounds they even attempted to, and now they try again over towards Mound.
Yeah, big read though as well, because they've had 4 players come over here now from Flux and stack up. Think again about the rotation we've seen around mid for the most part. That's where they played most of this game, and then look to move between A, between C. Here, at least to begin with, they started out on C, and now they've looked to move back away, much more towards that normal form.
And potentially able to cruise in towards A, right? There's no Killjoy utility on that site. So they can actually just lurk on through. Nothing to give them away, apart from an awkward timing from Sociable. Sturban pops up the rope. No kill, instantly out from Sociable. But now they're aware of this A hit.
But are they aware of how many are pushing in here as well? Because at the looks of it, the rest of the team is playing catch-up a little bit. You've got the Fade hanging back a little bit further just to hold off on towards the flank, but the push is coming in. This is where all the utility starts getting dumped in. This is where the kills start coming in as well. In comes the Fade ulti, but is it enough to convert this into a round win?
Inside the smoke right here, Sociable's able to find one, a second and a third for Yedijay. And now the lockdown, wait, that's actually just the round over. Lockdown doesn't even matter. Huge round to close out the half.
Probably coming out a little bit late towards the end there, but they know that it's coming up towards the end of the half. What does it matter? So 8-4 to Supermassive. I think that one round coming back at the end there from Flux gives them a little bit more of a cushion to play with. We are avoiding that 9-3 curse.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the A hits had just a tragic win rate for Supermassive. I think they won 1 out of 4. And, well, Flux only won 4 rounds, so 3 of them coming in from the post-plant retake, and 2 with just the full defuse. So I think all things considered, Supermassive absolutely blew Flux out of the water in this first half, but this is where you get to see them on the attacking side, where you have to imagine they'll have more comfortability on this map, because it just seemed like they played a very passive defense, and that is not going to maintain if they want to have a chance here for them.
Even with the Fade ult raining over the top as well, still just in a position where they'd already found the kills, really, that it should have been helping them to find, but that's in the past. We now get this second half, and the power of foretelling. Oh man, I imagine this game could still yet be so close, Ender. Thinking again about those first two.
Wait a second.
I was like, please catch on to what I'm saying.
He knows, guys.
The first 2 maps, again, reminding, both of them went to overtime.
That's
so
true.
Between these 2 teams, they are evenly matched, even though it feels like Supermassive were the ones away in the lead.
All right, Elite just casually going to find a shot through the smoke now. Flux looks like they maybe want to play a more forward position on site. Supermassive have 2 players coming in through Baby Door now. I think they actually had to reveal that position by busting that one out. So Yedijay's position could be absolutely huge, playing deep A main with the timing. But no, we can't find any of the shots. Now there's 2 players against him. How does he get both? That's not real.
It's as real as it happened before. You know what's got to modify it in the game here, Ender.
I think midway through his clip, he turned on cheats. He was like, the bullets are going everywhere, and then all of a sudden, head, it's over.
It's a little bit of a consolation kill for Steban as well, who I can't imagine can do a 1 versus 3 here. Surely not with the pistol, no. Flux start off with that pistol round win, and we know this can often lead to a round or 2 win. This could end up being an 8-7 if things go their way.
It definitely could. I mean, just having both pistols, such a boon after that dreadful defensive side. And I like what I'm seeing from them as well. So contrary to last half, where they actually went for just 5 Spectres, which is a defensive strat, right? On defense, it's harder to choose who's actually taking the fights, because, you know, depending on which site they come to, you're just going to run into a situation where you're going to get, you know, you're going to have to fight regardless. Whereas this time on attack, they're actually rocking 4 rifles. 2 Bulldogs, so not the most expensive options, but all things considered, they want to fight into the 3rd round on top of this.
I mean, that's a play that we haven't seen out of Flux, in that first half. Is this really aggressive taking of C main, where you think about the kind of 4-man stack we had on C previously, that was at least some motion towards it. Supermassive straight out the gate, they're looking to test it. Even now, 4 players thinking about going up B, maybe even trying to push deep. They're not going to bother. Instead, rotating back in towards A. I want to say here, the move has surely got to come in. There we go. They hear the spike going down, and now they know it's to try and push back in. But there's 4 of them all coming in through heaven. This could get pretty messy.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough, because they also have no utility on this retake either. Elite's got the best shot with the Sheriff to try and accomplish something, but this may be a world where you just play to die to Spike and stop Fireflux from stacking up ultimates. Because, right, like, giving kills over to a Killjoy on attacks is, like, really rough. Now Yedajay has 3 orbs, not enough to actually get into the next round, the 3rd round, and have an ult, which is, I think, the biggest round. If you, on attack, after winning the first couple, can then also have a big ultimate like a lockdown, heading into that 3rd round, that gives you a really realistic shot of winning that one through. So here you have it, Supermassive just going to dive forward to Spike.
Stacking up real well here. Yeah, of course, want to get the full reset off on that one, which they shall find. But as mentioned, my only main concern here is that, sure, you might see a buy round coming out from Supermassive, but for Fireflux, they've closed that gap by 2 rounds. There's only 2 that now stand between these 2 teams.
And you might wonder, like, why do you there not just, like, fight it out? Because on the off chance you get a kill, that's nice. Maybe you get a little bit of extra money, you get an orb, whatever. But at the end of the day, trading neutral and orbs favors the team that's closer to having theirs, having their ultimates, right? Because getting those online is really important. So if you win the first 2 rounds, you will just have more orbs than your opponent because you got all those kills, you got the spike plant, Supermassive weren't able to defuse. So that is why Supermassive don't want to give any options over. They'd rather just play things a little bit more cautiously.
This is twice now. We've seen this come out of Izzy as well. Posting behind his boxes, trying to make use of the the wall that's coming in as well, straight out of the harbor. He's playing in behind enemy utility there and getting into a comfortable position. The only danger then being if they see you get in there, you are frankly screwed. Yeah,
I mean, maybe you can dash out and have some situations if you're on the jet, but definitely trying to play trading angles there. I think on defense, on this map, you always want to be fighting either for mound or for A main control. You want to fight one of those extremities. Otherwise, you run into a lot of issues where you just don't really have the ability to play rotates through the doors later on. The attackers can actually use those against you.
Yeah, great use of the utility here as well as blocking out everything and trying to go for the plant, but they fall off for a second as well because of the Nano Swarm. JJ's still taking a bit of damage from it. Back into default. This time around, it should get finished off. We're once again in that post-plant situation.
Hard to retake here. Not playing a comp with any flasks or anything, neither side, or Fireflux is, but there you go.
Great read. Stebbing down already, 2 more off towards the right, but I'm not 100% sure that they're aware of this one as well. I think you got Sociable, was thinking about wrapping his way up top, but it's simply not going to happen. The 5v4 for Fireflux still stays that way, down to a 5v3, but there's a little bit of fight back coming in here from Supermassive, trying to fight in towards deep here as well, and they'd almost started to find it, but there's only one left standing. It's another round towards Fireflux, and we're almost being pulled dead even.
Fans are so powerful that you can try to use those to spin things around.
You talked a bit about it earlier as well, win 2 or 3 rounds and things really start to snowball beyond that. It's that kind of stage again where win a first couple, start to roll the next with a couple of ultimates off the back of them before you know it, 4 rounds in a row. And it feels like Fireflux are on for that, not remembering just 3 rounds ago, they were down 8-4.
Looks like Supermassive have adopted the buddy system. Hanging out over on this A site.
Holding hands, as you were describing earlier on.
Does he have his knife out? I'm pretty sure he does. He's just chilling in a hut. It's like, yeah, you guys will take care of him, right? He's like doing tricks. Actually, Cider's got some pretty sweet tricks there too with the Karambit.
There we go. Surely the read now starts to come through that they can start to hitting towards C here as well. I mean, what? There's 4 players for Supermassive off towards A. Everyone else, they were so close to going for a hit, but they've all backed away. It's playing running around the roses here, where B is the roses.
Yeah, the thing is, they actually just don't know, right? Like, Fireflux have no clue where these Supermassive players are. It's been eerily quiet. It's been too quiet. They don't exactly know precisely what's going on. So now they fake over towards C and end up running straight into the A meat grinder. Unless they decide to split over towards B, because with the positioning of Yedajay, that is absolutely an option. I like this from them. No one really in range. Cider may with a chance to get a pop shot, but no. As soon as the Cove goes to block off Heaven, it's lights out here for Supermassive.
It's again so crazy that we can find ourselves in a spike going down without really anyone getting into a firefight to begin things off. But now, this is where things really do start to heat up. 4 players for Supermassive, sorry, 3, all grouped across mid here as well, looking to come in towards B site. And Woot might be in the perfect spot. If he swings right, he can find 3, but no! Only gets himself 2. Does get shut down, but the damage has been done. They've killed all 3 players, and it feels like here again, Fireflux should come away the victor.
Absolutely. Cider running out of bullets. Maybe he can get a kill on this side. Actually, no, Fireflux going to make quick work of that one. And so much of it comes down to smart post-plant play from Fireflux, right? Noticing, hey, there's a lockdown on the opposite side. B site is a really small area, so it makes sense, even on the eco, for Elite to go ahead and pop down that lockdown. You can already see he's 2 charged up over towards getting that one again. So that's why they had 3 players trying to fight towards CT, a couple players trying to fight over towards Baby Door as well. Smart play from them, and it leads to them winning out that round that they should have by all means had. But if they'd played defensive, if they played more passively, they would have run into a lot of issues.
Right, well, with all that said, all things have been pulled completely square. So for all intents and purposes, eco aside, they've got a reset. Obviously, Flux, after the last 4-round wins, have got themselves a slightly stronger economy here to carry across into the next couple of rounds. If they win this one, again, Supermassive are back in the doldrums, and that could be another 2 or 3 rounds going the way of Flux.
The doldrums. I like that.
Nice word, right?
Yeah. It's usually what I call being like low ranked.
Down in the doldrums.
Right. You know, people say like Elo Hell. I say the doldrums of ranked.
Do you say that or are you making it?
I do.
You've heard me say
no,
it?
I actually do say that. Yeah. I picked it up from Mimi, to be fair, but I've stolen it.
I can imagine she's the kind of person that would say that. Down in the doldrums.
Somehow saying doldrums just sounds better out of her than it does me, though. I don't know.
By the utility. What sounds better, sorry?
To her saying doldrums.
Doldrums.
Just
It's
like
a
when
nice
she
word.
says it, it sounds better than when I say it. You know?
You know what 2 words I really like? Dulcet tones.
Dulcet
When you're talking
tones.
about someone speaks with
Yeah.
dulcet, the word dulcet is just beautiful. As of these kills, Supermassive actually here might be staging a bit of a comeback. From the back was Yetashay, but just gets domed by Izzy. And for a second I thought, oh, maybe it all starts to fall apart there in those next 2 or 3 seconds, but no, they hold on with that fantastic closing kill. Supermassive, they break the chain. Combo breaker, they're back in the game.
Da-na-na-na, combo breaker. Is that...
If there's a modern reboot of the game, then I'll get you to do
Yeah,
it.
okay, thanks. I'll do the voice thing.
I'll hit the guy up and let him know, hey, there's this guy, here's his clip from this game of Flux versus Supermassive.
I feel like that didn't show my best foot forward. I could do a way better.
I bet you could. I mean, you are sat on the
Combo
stage as well.
breaker.
See, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. I
That's
like
all-
it.
it's all
I even
right.
heard that echo behind me.
Yeah. It's nice being in an arena, isn't it?
It is. It's like the first time you cast an arena of any kind, and you're just like, how does it sound? You just say something really dumb and shout it really loud, so you hear it bounce around, and you're just like, whoa, this is far too much power for someone as young and mature as we, well, as you are. I'm now old.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Me
The
and
first
Loco on
time
the
I
wrong
ever
side of
cast,
30.
the first time I ever cast an arena, it was in Spain. I mean, apart from like a studio like LEC, it was in Spain, and Ibai was on the loudspeaker. So I just felt
God.
so inferior, you know, just like absolute
Spanish
like
and Brazilian casters,
yeah,
a
they do it
completely
different.
other breed.
They do it different. This is a wild post plant. Look at this reflank opportunity from Flux, because one has been dealt with, but Sociable, no one's prepared for this one.
Great little flank coming in as well, and now they've got to worry about it coming in from 2 directions. So instead, their option is to force in towards the site, but that puts them into some less than favorable situations. And now they're starting to lose out a couple of these firefights. Flux maybe back on for it here as well. If they can get the spray through, they do. Woot goes down, but there's an immediate trade. And when there's a trade, you're more than happy to play the 1-for-1 game when you've got the numbers advantage. This is going to be a round win here over towards Flux. Again, pulled completely square at 9 apiece.
Rest in peace, JJ. I really like these B hits from Flux. It seems like they're getting onto the site without too many casualties.
Yeah.
And then in the post, like pushing towards CT. We saw it previously against Killjoy. That just seems to be how they want to play the B site. Because there's 4 different ways to get into B, right? 2 from CT, then 1 from main, 1 from Link. And you have to maintain control of at least 2 of those in the post plant. Otherwise, you are just getting flooded in, you're forced off site. You can't actually hold any forward positions without some kind of cover off of at least 2 of those entrances. So seeing them push towards, you know, Heaven CT multiple times in a row there, having the reflank options too, because even if Sociable wasn't able to get the first, there were so many other options.
Does he get the kill on the back of this as well? Though he's got to make use of the situation, but it's stabbing to start popping off as well. 2 kills coming in. Flux already shut down at the start of their aggression here, and even better, they haven't got the spike under their control. This is brutal.
Bad news.
Because the smoke as well is perfect place as well, where they try and step through that doorway, they're immediately exposed to every angle imaginable. They're going to have to try and make something work here without the spike on side.
I didn't actually catch if the Viper Orb was also placed super far forward there, because if it is, then that is just like a permanent cycle of utility that you can't break through. Ooh, a little bit awkward, losing a player, all of a sudden giving Supermassive, or Flux rather, some more options. Because now they could be coming in from virtually anywhere.
I mean, he's screwed here as well to spot it out, and he is gunned down there by Steb, and this is looking exactly the way you'd expected it to go when they're still trying to have one or two players recover the spike here. Another one on the flank, though. Really, it's the Sky that I'm looking at. If Woot can come up big here on the backside and do some damage, then that is going to be unbelievable. Spots one, but now they know that he's here. They've got to be careful because they could get pushed in from two different angles here, and we all know how crossfires can go. They find Jailus, though. Woot's been in this 1v3 before and has not come out on top. I'm not expecting too much to change from this position. Okay. I mean, you see the first kill and your heart goes, please don't do me like this.
Yeah, I saw the door open. I was like, yeah, who gets that kill every time? Like, you're not getting away from that one when you just broadcast your position towards a guy like that.
And then he just went crashing off this chair, by the way.
And then I was like,
impressions to be able to say it was so exciting we broke the desk, though.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, I stole that piece of the desk that broke. And then when I moved back to America, I took it with me. No one knows. Now the world knows, but
nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Well, here we go. The push is coming through. This time around, rather than backing off after getting that harbor wall in towards that link in towards C, they've instead gone real hard in the push in here as well. Ult's coming out. Utility dump coming on through. Looking pretty good for Fireflux to have full command of the site here. And Supermassive have got to make this work.
Yeah, they have to be able to find Yeta J. That's big because now they can they have opportunities to flank with multiple players. This door is going to open as well, which puts Sociable in a miserable position, sort of caught out on his own.
Got to find his kills, though. Gets one, smokes the angle, now can dip in around this and play around it as best he can. I had the right idea, there was a player coming through B door, but turns away at just the wrong second, turns on towards Izzy, and he's cleaning house here as well. They got JG off towards the other side, Sociable finally goes down, but it feels like Fireflux can hold on.
Yeah, the time running out. Nothing you can do here as Cider, so just going to save that Bulldog heading into the next.
I mean, they need it. Looking at the economy, it's in tatters.
Yeah, it is not a good position to be in. That being said, they can still buy with 2 players. I didn't check what Izzy's ultimate situation is going to be.
I'm feeling this.
Yeah, I did a little squat. I like it.
I mean, at this age, my knees are just like, stop. But we're going for it.
If only we could see the
Woot's up.
orbs.
14 and 14 all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
he's doing good, especially on this attacking side.
Damn.
I mean, all of Fireflux are, right? I just think that they lacked the forward fighting on their defensive side. It wasn't even like individually they're faltering or anything. They were just put in these positions where they were having to play full retake or, you know, not getting any early sense of where Supermassive wanted to play.
Look at this aggressive push coming out from B, though, straight up towards mid. They were looking for a fight here, and they still are as well. But they do know about Yeta J tucked in towards the right here. No, they do not. They come in with one, but it's an instant response as well. It's a great force when you know you're so low down on rifle capability versus the other side. Get up close and take the fight to him.
It could have gone really poorly because there's a lot of different angles. You have to look both left and right, but Izzy was able to open that one up there with the knives, like we said. Now Sociable pushing towards CT. They love these pushes.
I love these flanks. So good. It's going to be a freebie for Sociable. Smokes off any potential swing as well and just backs away. Beautiful play.
If you're prepping this team and Sociable's alive, you know he's pushing your spawn.
You just know it's coming. 2 more kills coming in here. I think on the back of that flank alone, they removed enough pressure, knowing the only way they could come in was through the B link, and now they've got the absolute cleanup. There is one left standing, and just another wall for good measure. Fireflux should be able to pull ahead here. Beautiful. I'm really impressed by their attacks.
Yeah, I just think that, again, these deep CT pushes are working out super well for them, and in a situation like this, you can see, right, you have to clear both sides, so the fact that he was able to find one is impressive there for Izzy. But at the end of the day, you can't really keep funneling through that entrance.
It's kind of interesting because in the second half, it does feel like the defenses of Supermassive have been more aggressive. Think back to that first half. A good majority of Fireflux's play was, again, hovering around B and then adapting based on what came, whereas from Supermassive, they've started out with plans in a number of rounds. They've gone really aggressive in towards C main. They've pushed out really deep in towards A main and managed to get the spike down. They've played very differently, but then I think Fireflux's attacks have risen to the occasion and kept them incredibly competitive as well. It's just a great half of Valorant.
Yeah, I think Supermassive has just like gotten unlucky, like guessing the wrong side of the map multiple times, right? That time they were trying to play over towards C, but it was a quick attempt over into the A site.
Hello? I mean, he's got out there with a dash as well. I don't think he was expecting him to be so close so fast. Now Sociable's holding towards the back. If he times this right.
How do I push CT? I must go forward.
Oh, he's just waiting because these walls, again, are so well placed here, but down they come, and this is where the fragging starts.
Oh, this lockdown. Sociable. I was wondering if he would gamble trying to get a kill or two right before that went down. Actually was still holding the angle regardless, so 5 versus 3, actually.
can they pull this one back? I mean, they've got the numbers right. That's what you're looking for. Cyderex finding one for himself.
Oh, Yedajay's on the reflank as well. That's big.
These flanks every single time. Not that it seems to matter. Cyderex, the last one left standing, staring down the barrel of 2 players pushing in. As we have the ult set over the top from the Astra as well, trying to help out on this side, but it's simply working against them to some level as they don't have the full cover. Yedajay gets the kill. Flux up to 12 and 10, and after what felt like pretty much a car crash first half, they're looking like they're about to pull it back here, Ender.
You know what? I'm disappointed, though. I think that was a knife for Yedajay. He had no idea what was going down. That was a right stab in the back. He could have had it.
I love the motion. Stab in the back.
Yeah, look, all the right clicks in Valorant are like really whack. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't do much damage. Like with the Karambit, you're just kind of like, you know? I know you can't actually see me doing that. Some of the people in the audience maybe can, but if you're online, you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
When we get towards the end of this, it comes back towards camera, we can use that minute of fill
to show off all the knife attempts. Yeah, I like it.
So memorize as
How unlucky are Supermassive, though? They guess wrong every round. But they're doing the right thing, right? Playing forward for space. But Flux have just been dodging them.
Again, it's that read. Oh, jealous! He's absolutely butchered them, decapitated, executed them where they stand, and that feels like it should be game done and dusted.
That is brutal.
Jesus.
Supermassive, they guess wrong again, but they try to commit to a fast flank as a different option. But people were ready, Flux were ready. And this one looks completely toasted.
It's such a genius read by Flux because you saw them be so passive over towards C. They didn't want to push aggressively and run into that aggressive close-range firefight that Supermassive were looking for because of the inferior economy they had. So they just waited to see where the play came from, and as soon as they hit it, that's their go sign to go in towards C. Such a good read towards Supermassive in this half, who, as you said, I think have played really well, come out with the right game plan, but simply cannot do it. Ironically, there is no number 1 here, I'm afraid, Elite. You guys should be going down here in a 5v2.
This is the rare no CT push from Sociable. But with numbers, they're going to make this one look easy.
Where's the flank, guys? Come on. Finds one. Looking in for the second, but doesn't know about the man towards his left. There's one left standing, and there we go. It's Sociable, who really